guys, it's Amanda here. I just wanted to do a quick video focusing on some core work. The core is really important. It's the muscle that really connects, deeply to every other part of our body. So every movement that we're making, we are also making from our core abdominals. So it's a really important piece to hone in on. And although there's typical crunches and sit-ups and core work that a lot of us will practice, I thought from a yoga perspective, specifically around the core, might be an interesting offer for you today. So I want to show you something called Supta Navasana, or supine boat pose. So a lot of you might be familiar with the boat pose that looks something like this or this, where you're using your core muscles to kind of, draw your legs up and straighten them, keeping your spine elongated and of course your core engaged. But we're going to be doing this lying back, so it's a lot harder to cheat in this way of doing it. So I'm going to show you what it looks like. And there's a couple different pieces that you can practice, but you come lying on your back and you have your knees bent, and then you go ahead and you lift those shins so that they're parallel. Let me see if I can scoot myself so you can see exactly what the whole thing looks like. Okay, so you lift those legs so that they are now parallel to the floor. So you're making a 90-degree angle between your thighs and your shins here. So you don't want them lower, you don't want them higher, and most importantly, you want your knees over your hips. You don't want to draw your knees close to your chest or further away towards the opposite side of the room. You want knees, again, right over hips. And as you just hang out here, you can already begin to feel those abs working pretty readily. So at least it is for me. So you can just actually hang out here for a little while and just feel the abdominals picking up. All the while you're trying to keep this 90-degree angle here. You're trying to relax your shoulders, your neck, your face, your arms. Those won't help you here. So just hone in on the core muscles working. And the other piece that's really interesting to deepen this work even more is to begin to do a little tucking and untucking of the pelvis, of the sacrum. So it's almost like we're doing cat and cow pose, but we're just doing it within the pelvis here. So the rest of our back is not going to be rounding that much. So we're really just pressing that low back down and then releasing it back to that neutral place. So you can even stick your hand underneath, try to press your back down into your hand, and then allow that little gap to reappear. So you can see there's a little rocking sensation. Now I'm already shaking here because this is really hard work for me that I'm still working on. But again, you're just tucking, pressing the low back down, untucking, coming back to that neutral place. And this is huge for your abs. So I'm going to draw my legs back down, take a breath for a moment. I'm going to show you one other piece, one other option. A really great tool to have is a yoga strap or even a regular belt to stick in between or underneath that little gap, so that when you're doing the tucking and untucking, you can feel that you're making contact with that belt, and even give it a little tug to make sure you're really holding it down and you're really deeply drawing those abdominals down. That's a really helpful tool here. So I'm going to go ahead and bring those legs back up to parallel. And again, another little piece if you want to go further. First, we'll just keep this little gap in the low back that you can stick maybe a finger or two underneath here. Keep that, use the abdominal muscles from this standpoint, and then slowly lower a leg maybe 3 inches from the floor and hold, breathing easy, and then drawing it back on up. All the while, of course, we're keeping the head, neck, shoulders relaxed, jawline relaxed, and then we'll swap. We'll extend the leg straight, lower it again just 3 inches or so from the ground, keeping this knee, make sure it's not doing any of this, keep everything over in place here, and then drawing it back, and then we can come to a rest. And then the other piece that we can do is that same movement, only this time we're going to tuck that tailbone under and really ground through the lumbar. So that's where that strap or belt can be handy for you. So we'll bring the shins back to beginning, tuck the tailbone, so really ground it into the floor beneath you. No cheating here, really ground it, and then extend one leg and lower it only up as much as you're able to keep that contact with the floor in your low back. If you lose it, you just pause there, and then drawing it back, and then you swap legs, tuck, ground the lumbar, round the pelvis, extend and lower any amount. Again, be honest with yourself here, and then draw the legs back on up, and then come on down. And I always like to do a nice little cat stretch in between, and especially at the end of doing some of this abdominal work. So that's kind of some options there for Supta Navasana or supine boat pose to get the core nice and warm for you. Something a little bit different than crunches. So enjoy it. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you soon.